Yeah, what's going on, family? It's your man B Miles coming to you live once again with another video from the B Miles 84 Conscious channel. I actually want to come to y'all with another video, man, talking about how United States urges G7 to impose up to 100% tariffs on China and India over Russian oil. They said the United States has pressured G7 countries to hit India and China with tariffs up to 100% for buying Russian oil in an attempt to force Moscow into peace talks with Ukraine, according to a document seen by the Financial Times. In the video called on Friday, finance ministers from the G7 leading economies discussed a U.S. proposal for a round of new measures as President Donald Trump steps up efforts to broker a peace deal in Ukraine. The G7 should immediately impose 50 to 100% secondary tariffs on China and India for their purchases of Russian crude oil, according to United States position paper sent to G7 members ahead of the call and seen by the FT. The G7 should be the G7 should target the enablers and profiteers, mostly China and India, to stop them from prolonging this war, as the document. Trump said this week urged the EU to impose up to 100% tariffs on China and India, but now expanded the push to include G7 allies. Chinese and Indian purchases of Russian oil are funding Russian President Vladimir Putin's war machine and prolonging the senseless killing of Ukrainian people, said United States Treasury Department spokesperson. Earlier this week, we made it clear to our UE allies that if they are serious about ending their war in their own backyard, they need to join us and impose meaningful tariffs that will rescind it the day war ends. They added. The United States last month increased tariffs on Indian imports to 50% over the country's purchases of Russian oil. In April, Trump sharply increased tariffs on Chinese imports, but scaled them back in May after a market backlash. EU officials know that imposing such steep tariffs on two key trading partners will be difficult given the economic impact and likely retaliation from Beijing. The bloc is hoping to seal a trade deal with New Delhi within weeks as it seeks closer ties with rising Asian power. According to three officials briefed on the G7 call, the Europeans were testing about imposing secondary sanctions on China and India, but expressed openness to alternative proposals. They agreed they needed to keep ratcheting up pressure on Russia and supporting Ukraine, but then made the point that it was up to the European Commission to set trade policy, the officials said. UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer will try to convince President Trump and his state to visit Britain next week to agree more targeted sanctions on Chinese and Indian companies behind imports of Russian oil rather than across-the-board tariffs that could start a trade war, UK National Security Jonathan Powell told the FT. London announced sanctions on 100 Russian oil tankers, companies, and individuals on Friday. So pretty much right about now, they saying the United States, President Trump is imposing 100% tariffs on China and India over Russian oil. So you definitely want to pay attention. But I had to come to y'all with this video, man, spread thoughts upon this, shed light upon the situation. I felt the need of y'all had to hear this subject. Keep on liking and subscribing to my channel. Always appreciate the love. Don't forget to hit the bell to get all of my notifications. Like, share, and subscribe. And this your man B Miles coming to you live once again from the B Miles 84 Conscious channel. One love once again. Peace.